When we start learning game design, we are told that there are fundamental rules that should never be broken. But what happens if we break all of those rules? By all definitions in the world of game design, Dwarf Fortress is a bad game. The UI is atrocious to navigate, the learning curve is a cliff, and the game takes complexity and obscure mechanics to a sadistic level. I'm Alex with Serious Goose Games, and today we're talking about why Dwarf Fortress succeeds even though it breaks every rule. Let's dive into this amazing, terrible game and try to see what we can learn by breaking all the rules. Think about some of the most successful games. What makes them great? Why are they so popular? This is what game designers are always studying. It's why we always get a slew of clones whenever a new game makes it big. Honestly, there's no single answer to this question. A game's success is rarely based on a single factor. There are some common design principles that we tend to stick to though, things we have learned from the great wise designers who have come before us. Let's start with what I see as the most important. Games should be accessible. The more people that can pick up and play your game, the more successful the game will be. That's just common sense, so if your game is easy to get into, then you're already killing it. A great tutorial or mechanics that are easy to understand go a long way here. Portal is a phenomenal game that is mostly tutorial, but the player learns through playing and experimenting. A problem some games run into though is onboarding new players. This is rough for established competitive titles. If you've never played a MOBA or a Battle Royale, try them out and let me know how your new player experience is. So many players will play games like Dota or Overwatch for a day or two and never open the game again because being a new player is actually miserable. One of the reasons accessibility matters so much is because most players don't want to feel like they're doing homework. If your game requires a 3-hour crash course before you can even walk forward, you've already lost 90% of your potential audience. Games like Stardew Valley thrive because you can hand it to anyone and they'll figure it out in minutes. Nobody booted up Candy Crush and thought, yes, this is a game that respects Bloom's taxonomy of learning. No, you just swipe the shiny colors and feel amazing. Accessibility isn't just design doctrine, it's basic survival. Another holy grail of game design is balance. Games should be balanced, that's what we're told. When a new champion gets released in League, there are always calls to nerf it because it's always overpowered on release. A patch comes out in WoW and a class goes from top of the DPS charts to the bottom. Balance is considered to be crucial to the success of a multiplayer game. In single-player games, balance usually refers to the challenge of the game. Some games are brutally difficult and pride themselves on that. They don't shy away from it. FromSoft does a great job at creating a challenging experience where the player can still find success if they work hard enough. Finding the right balance of challenge and reward is a tricky process, but generally important. The last core principle I want to talk about today is respect for the player's time. This is so important. Obviously, we want people to play our games. We want them to be immersed and to enjoy spending their time with the worlds we create. Time is our most precious resource because it's the most finite. When a game doesn't respect a player's time, then the player is not likely to stick around. Spending hours grinding in a game just to lose everything is a soul-crushing experience, and something that has been thankfully phased out for the most part. Some MMO games have tried to take your inventory and drop it when you get killed by another player, and there's a reason games like that struggle. Live service games are notorious for not respecting player time and loyalty. The Stop Killing Games initiative was created mainly for the purpose of preventing game publishers from just shutting down these titles that players have spent tons of money and time on. The idea is when a game begins the sunset process, then there will be a way for players to still play the game through tools like player-run servers. It's been an interesting process to follow, and I can see the arguments from both sides. Some live service games have tried to reward player loyalty by giving player rewards when a sequel releases. Smite gave players a special currency that could carry over to Smite 2, as well as access to skins that were available in both games. It's not a perfect solution, but they tried, and that should be recognized. Let's get back to the topic at hand. Dwarf Fortress is a bad game. When we look at all of those game design principles, what does Dwarf Fortress actually have? The Steam version is slightly better, but the UI is atrocious in every version. Navigating these menus takes longer than it should, and in the original ASCII version, it's even worse and requires hotkeys. There's technically a tutorial, but it only covers the absolute basics of the game, just enough to get your dwarves to survive a year, maybe, if the game feels kind. Outside of the tutorial, there is no way to learn without just trying things out. Unfortunately, trying things costs resources and space and safety. It's hard to learn how minecarts work when you're trying to keep over 100 angry, drunk, picky bastards alive. The wiki can help, and there's plenty of YouTube tutorials on the game. If you want to actually learn the mechanics of the game, you will need those resources. For accessibility, Dwarf Fortress gets a D, F if we're talking about the ASCII version. What about goals? What is the goal of Dwarf Fortress? It's actually pretty clear, all things considered. You need to survive. How you do that is up to you, but the goal is to survive as long as you can. Wait, that's not the actual goal. The game tells you that's your goal. The game gives you all these tools to survive. Here's the thing though, if you ask a seasoned Dwarf Fortress player what the goal is, they will probably tell you the exact opposite. The goal isn't to survive, it's to lose. Dwarf Fortress isn't a survival game, it's a colony simulation. It's a storytelling tool. You're supposed to lose. You're supposed to create a story worth telling. Other colony sims, like Oxygen Not Included, are all about surviving and creating an optimized environment with skill and strategic planning. Dwarf Fortress doesn't care about optimization. In fact, the more optimized you try to be, the more the game seems to punish you out of spite. Build a perfect irrigation system? Congrats, you just created the ideal environment for a forgotten beast made of boiling vomit to crawl in from the caverns. Try to set up a perfectly efficient military? Enjoy watching your legendary axe dwarf trip over a cat and accidentally sever their own foot. The moment you try to impose order, the game reminds you that the chaos is the real sovereign ruler of your fortress. Dwarf Fortress is actively trying to ruin your day by destroying your colony in any way it can. So for having clear goals, we're going to give Dwarf Fortress a C-. It tells you that your goal is the opposite of the actual goal, but even a new player will quickly figure out the true goal. Let's discuss balance next. This kind of ties into the last point about losing. Dwarf Fortress is hard. The game actually wants you to lose. You're expected to lose over and over because that's how you're going to learn. Honestly though, it doesn't matter how long you've played this game, every fortress dies eventually. There are so many mechanics in this game that you can't possibly predict or prepare for every scenario. Dwarves need alcohol or they spiral into madness. Sometimes they get possessed. Hauling dead things is apparently traumatic for children. Some biomes bring back the dead and it's not obvious which ones do that. Aquifers are actually awful. Automation is possible, I think, but like, how do I windmill? There's just so much depth and complexity in this game that balancing anything would actually be a nightmare. Balance in Dwarf Fortress is such a lost cause that even the community has given up trying to talk about it. If you ask 10 players which biome is the hardest, you'll get 12 answers and at least one argument about aquifers. The game is less balanced and more cosmically aligned against you, and honestly, that's kind of the charm. Nothing is fair, everything is dangerous, and your job is to keep the dice rolling as long as possible before the universe notices your fortress and decides, yeah, we're done here. For this reason, Dwarf Fortress gets a D for balance. Respect for time is a rough one. I have lost fortresses that have days put into them because I accidentally started a war with emus. Forgetting to pull a lever can ruin hours of work. A bronze colossus will literally destroy a civilization of over 200 dwarves. Dwarf Fortress doesn't care about your time. There are games that respect your time. Then there are games that treat your time like disposable income. Dwarf Fortress falls into a third category. Games that treat your time like an ancient artifact to be shattered for dramatic effect. You don't just lose progress, you lose entire dynasties. You lose stories. Your fortress becomes a cautionary tale told around digital campfires. Remember the player who stored their booze near lava? And you know what? Players love it. They memorialize the disasters more than the victories. The game looks at your carefully constructed fortress and laughs at you. In a way though, that's kind of the point. Every story has to end at some point. If the goal is to create epic stories, then you gotta end it eventually so you can start a new one. Because of the soul-crushing loss of some glorious forts, we're going to give Dwarf Fortress a C for respecting player time. With all of these failures, why does Dwarf Fortress work anyway? Well, accessibility is probably the biggest sin. While it may be clunky and unintuitive, most players can figure out the basic mechanics and interface pretty quickly. And because of the many resources put together by the community, mechanics can be learned at the player's own pace. A fortress probably isn't going to fail if you don't know how to build a complex minecart network. Goal clarity isn't too bad. You figure out pretty quickly that a game with the tagline of losing is fun probably doesn't actually want you to survive forever. The challenge of the game feeds into that mentality, making balance irrelevant. Honestly, if Dwarf Fortress was balanced, it'd probably be incredibly boring. As far as respect for player time, I've never once felt like I wasted time in any of the sessions I've played. When I lose a fort, I learn something new for next time. Losing in this game feels good. And weirdly, the difficulty becomes comforting. Once you accept that everything is going to explode, collapse, burn, drown, starve, or tantrum itself to death, the stress melts away. You're no longer trying to build the perfect fortress. You're trying to see how long your imperfect fortress can hold off the inevitable. It's like playing Jenga while someone slowly increases the gravity. You stop being anxious about losing and start being excited about how you'll lose. That shift is magical. Dwarf Fortress uses emergent storytelling with the insane mechanics to fuel a unique experience and unforgettable stories. I don't think there's a single game that has the sheer number of interacting systems that Dwarf Fortress has. The depth and complexity also leads to infinite replayability with procedural worlds and events that could only ever happen in that single world. The losing is fun mentality of the community creates an environment where failure isn't a frustrating experience. Losing is a badge of honor, and players take pride in the nonsense that occurs in their world. Mastering a mechanic is also super rewarding. I might not know how minecarts work, but I know that if I ever bother to figure it out, I'm going to be so damn proud. I will have minecarts everywhere. When I first figured out smelting, I had that same pride over the mastery of that mechanic. Learning this game takes work. It doesn't walk you through anything, and that makes accomplishing anything such a rewarding experience. So again, why does Dwarf Fortress work even though it breaks all of the rules? It's a paradox. We expect bad design to lead to a bad experience. Honestly, Dwarf Fortress is not a game for everybody. It takes patience and perseverance. For many people though, it is one of the most amazing experiences you can have with a video game. This game doesn't streamline the process or make things easy for the player. It fully leans into opacity and chaotic mechanics. The friction between the player and the mechanics has become a core part of the game's identity. By staying true to that identity and not compromising, Dwarf Fortress has carved out a niche for itself where it can thrive, where a game that follows proper design principles would probably flop. It's accepted the fact that it's a storytelling tool first and a game second. Most games try to smooth out friction. Dwarf Fortress keeps the friction and hands you a box of matches. The game isn't designed to protect you from yourself. If anything, it encourages you to make reckless decisions just to see what will happen. That willingness to embrace chaos creates a relationship between the player and the game that's almost collaborative. You're not fighting the system, you're coaxing stories out of it. If you ask some of the best cartoonists to draw a proportionate, anatomically correct person, you'll probably get something that looks pretty accurate, even though their primary style throws proportions out the window. In order to break the rules and get a good result, you need to know the rules thoroughly. A good cartoonist knows proper proportions so well that they can exaggerate and emphasize things effectively. A good game designer can take common game design principles and use those expectations to curate a positive experience, even if the rules are broken. Dwarf Fortress is a masterclass in this idea. It breaks common game design principles in a way that creates a fun and engaging experience. If a game is designed badly but creates a great experience, then is it actually badly designed? Dwarf Fortress is a bad game that has achieved success because of all these things that should have caused it to fail. It is possibly one of the best badly designed games in existence. By looking at it and learning from this game, we can understand that sometimes it's okay to break the rules. Maybe don't ignore the rules, but understand them and use them to subvert expectations. Try new things, be creative, explore infinite possibilities. Don't put yourself in a box and let yourself fail. Game design is just as much art as it is science. By breaking the modern rules of game design, Dwarf Fortress has become a timeless jewel. In its badness, Dwarf Fortress has achieved greatness. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. I'm Alex of Serious Goose Games, and I'll see you in the next one.